Choking. Choking is your airway getting blocked by the last thing you'd expect to kill you. Food. It happens when something gets lodged in your throat and cuts off airflow to your lungs, and in adults, it's most often something as ordinary as a piece of meat, swallowed too fast, or chewed too little. Once your airway is blocked, your brain starts losing oxygen within minutes, and without intervention, that damage becomes permanent fast. It's more common in people eating alone, since there's no one there to notice, and no one there to help. Kids under 5 are especially at risk from small toys and hard candy, but adults die from it constantly, usually at their own dinner table. There's no warning sign beforehand. One bite goes down wrong, and your own throat becomes the emergency. Electrocution. Electrocution is your home's wiring, finding a way around the insulation that's supposed to keep it away from you. Most houses run on enough voltage to stop a heart if it finds a path through your body to the ground, and water makes that path dramatically easier to complete. A frayed cord, a hairdryer near a sink, an outlet you've used 1,000 times with no issue. All it takes is once for the current to travel through your chest instead of the wire it was meant for. Older homes with outdated wiring carry more risk, but even new appliances fail. The damage isn't always obvious from the outside either, since electrical injuries can stop your heart's rhythm without leaving a mark. The outlet in your bathroom has been perfectly safe for years, right up until the one day it isn't. Drowning at home. Drowning at home is proof that you don't need an ocean, a lake, or even much water at all. A bathtub with a few inches of water is enough to drown in if you lose consciousness, whether from a seizure, a fall, or simply falling asleep. It's one of the leading causes of accidental death for toddlers specifically, who can slip under the surface silently, without the splashing or shouting people expect from a struggling swimmer. Adults aren't immune either, especially if alcohol, medication, or a medical event is involved. It can happen in minutes, in a room in your own house, with help sometimes only a wall away. The most dangerous water in your home was never the pool outside. It was always the tub down the hall. Carbon monoxide poisoning. Carbon monoxide poisoning is a gas with no smell, no color, and no warning system built into your own body to detect it. It comes from anything that burns fuel indoors without enough ventilation. A furnace, a gas stove, a generator running in an attached garage. Once it's in the air, it binds to your blood far more efficiently than oxygen does, quietly replacing the oxygen your organs need without your body ever registering a problem. The first symptoms look like a headache or fatigue, which is exactly why so many cases go unnoticed until it's too late. It kills people in their sleep more often than almost any other way, since victims simply never wake up to realize anything is wrong. A working detector is the only real defense, because your own senses were never built to catch this one. Lead poisoning. Lead poisoning is decades-old house paint and old plumbing still finding ways to hurt you long after anyone stopped using lead on purpose. Homes built before 1978 often still have lead paint buried under newer coats. And when that paint chips, cracks, or turns to dust during renovation, it becomes something you can breathe in or ingest without ever realizing it. Lead doesn't get processed and removed by your body efficiently. Instead, it accumulates, settling into your blood and bones and slowly interfering with your nervous system and organ function over months or years. Children absorb it more easily than adults and suffer permanent developmental damage even at low exposure levels. The house looks completely fine. The paint's been dry for 40 years. It's still working against whoever lives inside it. Radon gas exposure. Radon gas exposure is radioactive gas rising up from the ground beneath your house and settling into the air you breathe every single day. It comes from the natural decay of uranium in soil and rock, and it seeps in through cracks in your foundation, gaps around pipes, or your basement floor, completely invisible and completely odorless. Unlike most hazards on this list, there's no single moment where anything goes wrong. Instead, you inhale trace amounts continuously for years, and that radiation slowly damages the cells lining your lungs. It's the second leading cause of lung cancer in the world, right behind smoking, and the overwhelming majority of homes with dangerous radon levels have owners who have never once tested for it. There's no smell to notice, and no symptom to catch early. The only way to know is to actually check. Gas leaks and explosions. Gas leaks and explosions start with a slow, often unnoticed leak, and end with a structure that can level a room in seconds. Natural gas is used to power stoves, furnaces, and water heaters in millions of homes, and it's normally odorless, which is why utility companies add a distinct sulfur smell specifically so leaks can be detected before they become dangerous. A cracked line, a loose fitting, or an appliance that was never properly sealed can let gas build up in an enclosed space undetected. Once concentration reaches the right threshold, all it takes is a single spark, a light switch, a pilot light, static electricity, to ignite an explosion capable of leveling walls instantly. These events are rare compared to other hazards on this list, but when they happen with almost no time to react. The warning sign is there. It's just easy to convince yourself it's nothing. House fires. House fires are one of the fastest moving threats in your entire home, capable of going from a small flame to an unsurvivable room in under 3 minutes. Most start from something mundane: an unattended stove, a space heater too close to fabric, an overloaded outlet, a cigarette left burning. What makes fire specifically dangerous isn't always the flames themselves, but the smoke, which can fill a home with toxic gas and zero visibility long before the fire physically reaches you. Modern furniture burns faster and produces more toxic smoke than furniture did decades ago, which is part of why escape windows have shrunk so dramatically compared to older building codes. Most fire deaths happen at night, while people are asleep and unaware anything has started. By the time a smoke detector wakes you, the amount of time left to safely get out can already be down to a couple of minutes. Furniture and structural tip-overs. Furniture and structural tip-overs are heavy, unsecured objects finding gravity at the worst possible moment. A bookshelf, a dresser, or a wall-mounted television that isn't anchored to a stud can tip forward with enough force to trap or crush anyone underneath it, and it doesn't take an earthquake to cause it. Children climbing drawers to reach something on top are especially at risk, since their body weight is often enough to pull an entire piece of furniture down on top of them in seconds. Unlike most causes on this list, this one is almost entirely preventable with a simple anchor strap, which is exactly why it keeps happening anyway, in homes where nobody thought their own furniture needed one. The danger was never the size of the object, it was always the fact that nothing was holding it in place. Household chemical poisoning. Household chemical poisoning is two perfectly safe cleaning products becoming something else entirely the moment they're mixed. Bleach and ammonia, both common in ordinary household cleaners, react to produce toxic chloramine gas, capable of damaging your lungs within seconds of exposure in an enclosed bathroom or kitchen. Most people who create this gas have no idea it's happening until they're already struggling to breathe, since neither product warns you clearly enough about what happens when they meet. Beyond that one combination, plenty of other household chemicals, drain cleaners, pesticides, and even some medications can cause serious poisoning through accidental ingestion or prolonged exposure in poorly ventilated spaces. The products themselves aren't the danger, it's what happens the one time they end up in the same bucket. Falls. Falls are the most common way your own home actually kills you, and they don't need a ladder or a rooftop to do it. A wet bathroom floor, a rug with a curled edge, a poorly lit staircase at 2 a.m., all of it is enough. Falls are the leading cause of home injury death overall, disproportionately affecting older adults, whose bones fracture more easily and whose recovery from a broken hip or head injury is far less certain than it would have been decades earlier. What makes falls especially dangerous isn't always the initial impact, but what follows. A hip fracture that leads to reduced mobility, blood clots, or a hospital stay that a fragile body never fully bounces back from. Most people picture dramatic hazards when they think about danger at home. Statistically, the most common one is just gravity, waiting at the bottom of your own stairs.